Hello and welcome to the Ninjababes Podcast. I'm here today with Jess Labreck. Hello, greetings.
Hello.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. I'm
Yes.
super excited to be recording with you today, and a lot of the ninjas in the world are just excited in general to just know what's going on in your life now. And after watching you this season, it's just been awesome to see how well you've been doing, but also just your own accomplishments, your own improvements from year to year is just always inspiring to me and incredible. So I'm really excited to have you on. So welcome. How's it going?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm super excited too.
So, let's just dive right in. So,
Yeah.
how many seasons have you been on American Ninja Warrior now?
Yeah. So this was my fifth season of American Ninja Warrior.
Okay. Has this been your favorite season? Or
So I keep saying it like when I'm posting online and stuff, but it's so special to me because we didn't think we were gonna have this season. Like
Mhm.
we were just like I just kept saying like I don't think we're gonna have it because I didn't want to get my hopes up and then not have it and just be totally crushed. So the fact that like I didn't think I was gonna compete and then I did compete, and then it went, pretty well. Like it's hard because it was really fun and it was probably one of my favorites, but also the fact that there was no Vegas and like no everyone all
Mhm.
together, like it wasn't the same being all together because of COVID. So it was kind of my favorite, but then also kind of not.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's very different. Did the format just being there, being in the new format, being with, like you said, not going to Vegas all in one place, did that feel like it was a totally different show, or did it still feel like Ninja Warrior to you, but just like in a new setting?
Um, yeah, it felt different in the fact that like there was no like huge end goal of like accomplishing, a goal and then knowing that you're going to go to the finals somewhere else, or
Mhm.
like knowing that you're going to have a break and get to prepare for the finals. It was really
Yeah.
weird in that sense of like it was going to be all done in like the next couple of days no matter
Yeah.
what you did. Um so that was definitely different, but it still felt like the show because there was still, the 6 obstacle course qualifiers, and then the semifinals and the finals both had the 10 obstacle course.
Mhm.
So like it kind of just felt like it was like half of a season instead of a full season.
Gotcha. It's interesting too because I talk to a lot of the Australian Ninja Warriors pretty frequently, and the way they do filming is more similar to that format where it's like 2 weeks and like just do
Right.
it all.
Yeah.
So when it first came up, I was like, "Huh, I wonder if we'll like this, like if we'll stay like this or not." Would you be upset if it stayed like this?
Yeah, I miss Vegas for sure. Like, I don't miss Vegas, like, don't get me wrong, I don't miss being in Vegas. It's so hot, and it's just, like, everyone there is, like they're on a different lifestyle than what you're
Yeah.
doing. Like, you're there to be an athlete, and everyone else there is, like, kind of to party and gamble
Right.
and, like, stuff. So, I will just miss the fact that, like, you have that goal and, like, it's everyone comes together and you're all competing together for Vegas, and it's so fun. Like that week or like 10 days that we're there is just really, really fun. And I always look
Mhm.
forward to it, because not only is it everyone that, comes to compete and has made it, but it's also like the testers are there too, which is usually like some of your closest friends that maybe,
Yeah.
didn't make it. And so it's like you're supporting them too, like, testing and stuff. And so it's just getting everyone together and all being together. And it's like that one like week or 2 vacation where you're just, like, get to be together, and so I
Yeah.
definitely will miss that.
For sure. Yeah, and you're right.
Yeah,
Vegas is such a it's a cool time for everyone because people
yeah,
come out just to watch or to test or to compete, and it's like everyone has something that they're excited for, even if they're not the ones competing all the way through to the end. So,
yeah, for sure, and the stages are just so different,
mhm,
they're speed courses, like, the stage 1 where it's, like, huge, big obstacles and big moves, and you're moving fast, and then, stage 2 gets, a little bit it's still speed, but still hard, and then stage 3 is, like, insanely hard, and so, we don't have that when it's the finals, it's just kinda like one set, way to do the
totally.
courses.
So then, knowing that this year was going to be different, and not even knowing if it was really happening at first or what was
Yeah.
happening, what sort of expectation did you set for yourself as far as the actual competition and your own performance?
Yeah, it was so weird because like, we didn't even really know going into it, like, what it was gonna be, like, like, the setup and, like, how to qualify and how many
Yeah.
people, made it to the next round. So, I guess I make very small goals for myself, like, as I go through, like, goal 1 was, like, "Don't fall on the first obstacle."
Mhm.
Goal 2 was, like, "Don't fall on balance." And so, it was, like, very just, like, small steps, um And so, eventually when I got through qualifiers, it was like, okay, now into the semifinals. It's like, okay, make it to the back half. Okay, make it into the top, whatever. And then when you're in finals, it's like, okay, try to make it to the end, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like I try not to look too far ahead. Um
Mhm.
being in the top 8 was like never one of my goals until I was like at the finals and probably through obstacle 3 and obstacle 4 when I was like, okay, okay, like try to get in the top 8 now. It was never I never set goals that are like too far ahead because I always just kind of want to focus on what I'm doing at the time, trying to be like
Mhm.
really present.
Yeah. Do you feel for yourself that if you do set goals that are very far ahead, as you would put it, does that make you more nervous or make you kind of set your expectations up too high?
I think it's just because I wanna focus so much on what I'm doing that's close to me at the time. I'm
Mhm.
totally okay with setting goals that are, like,
Yeah.
further ahead, like, it's just the fact that, like, how this season was set up. If it was a normal season, my goal would have been to beat stage my goal would have been to make it to Vegas, and then
Mhm.
when there, to beat stage 1. I'm okay with setting goals far ahead because I know personally that, like, if I don't reach a goal that, like, I'm still gonna be okay. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not just gonna be totally, like, demolished and like, "Oh, I can't, do this anymore." And so it depends on the season, but typically my goal is like, okay, be stage 1, and usually that's pretty far out, but I also know that, like, if I don't, then I'll be okay.
Mhm. Did you have a favorite obstacle this season or like what did you think about the courses?
Yeah, the courses were awesome. There was a lot of, like, really, really cool obstacles. Probably my favorite obstacle was the dragon back
Mhm.
because I didn't think I would get there. I didn't think I would beat it, and then I did, and so I was like, "Okay, that's definitely," like, just the fact that, like, it was something that I didn't think I could do, and then I could do it, I'm probably that one was my favorite.
That's really cool. Yeah, because it's like it's intimidating and challenging, but then when you realize
Yeah.
that you're doing it, like that is the
Yes.
coolest feeling ever. It's like
Yes, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congrats again. Like it's so
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah.
Um yeah, I guess along with that, how did it feel competing alongside Chris? I know that you guys have competed, the two of you have competed
Yeah.
alongside each other so many times before, but did this feel different at all or like how do you feel like you always are able to continue to encourage each other and coach each other or are there times that you have to like take a step back?
Yeah, no, we're really good about that. Like it's never we never have to like take a step back or anything like that. We're really good about being there for each other. The only issue that I have is that I don't always listen to him. I always kind of think that like he thinks because he's my fiance that he thinks that I'm better than I am. And so like for instance for the
Gotcha.
finals, he was like telling me like, "Babe, you can do this. Like you can beat this course." And I was like I was like, "No, I can't. Like stop. Like you're just kind of like trying to pump me up and, tell me I just felt like it wasn't true. And so he actually made Michael Torres come over and talk to me and be like, "Michael, go tell her that she can do this course." And so like Michael came and told me and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I can, I can." And I was like, after he told me that, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so true." Like I totally like blew off Chris and then like totally listened to Michael, but I mean, it's just like, that's like what I feel like he's supposed to do. He's supposed to support me no
Mhm.
matter what. And even if he didn't think I could do it, he still would tell me he could. So like I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I don't believe you." So, and then also on the other side, it's like it's great having each other, but I feel a little bit of pressure where it's like if I don't do well, I don't want him to feel bad, and then like
Yeah.
vice versa. Is like he fell in obstacle 3, and like I was like so upset for him, but I had to like pull myself together and be like, okay, you can't think about that going into my run because he ran
Mhm.
before me. So it is hard in that aspect of like last year when he beat stage 1 and I didn't. Like he like felt bad, but he was happy for
Mhm.
himself, and so like that's a
Yeah.
hard kind of feeling to work through.
Yeah, definitely. And I would
Yeah.
wonder too, like if you had it in your head, like, okay, well, he made it to this point, and when you're like physically passing that point, I could see how it could either play in your head,
Yeah.
like, oh, am I gonna fall right here? Or am I gonna pass it?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, and we
yeah,
typically fall in the same spot, so, like,
yeah,
I was on that 3rd obstacle, and I was like, "Please, God, like, don't let it be this time. Like, just let me get through." Because usually it's, like, obstacle 9 or something where it's
yeah.
like, "Okay, if you fall, it's like whatever," but I was like, "Oh, please don't let it be this time," and so, yeah.
That's cool. Did you
Yeah.
find yourself doing anything different this year, whether it was in training or just while competing? Or
Um, I felt myself I felt myself getting slower and slower on obstacle 1 because in
Okay.
my head I kept thinking, like, "Just don't fall on the first obstacle." And so the first time I, like, kind of attacked it and I was like, "Okay, that was fine." And then, like, as I started getting further and further into, like, semifinals and finals, I was like, "God, this would be terrible if I failed the first obstacle." And so, like,
Yeah.
going through the steps, I was like, "Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5." And so I just kept getting slower and slower. And then after I was like, "Oh my god, you're fine, like, just get through it," but I just kept getting slower and slower through it.
That's funny. I mean, the paranoia is real sometimes
Oh
because it's
god.
like, because your brain wants to imagine, like, but if I did fall right now and I've done this already, like, however many
Yes.
times, it's like, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's so silly, but it happens. You can't is there's just some things that you just can't force yourself to, like, not think about.
Mhm.
Even though I try and I, like, tell other people, like, "Okay, you're gonna stress about this one obstacle a lot, and you're gonna get through it in 3 seconds, but you're gonna
Yeah.
have stressed about it for, an hour," and it's like, that's a waste of time to stress about it for 3 seconds, so, yeah. I
No,
don't listen
totally.
to my own advice ever.
Okay, so then Power Tower. Tell me about the Power Tower, especially
Yes.
because now looking back, you're against Daniel Gale, who ended up
Yes.
winning. So I feel like that is like, I feel like that in itself, if it were me, I would have been like, that was amazing. Who cares if he beat me because he just won the whole
Yes.
thing and I did a really good job. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Like I went into the power tower just being super stoked that I had even made it there. Like that was
yeah,
not something that I did that I thought I could do. And so the fact that I was there, I was like super excited and really, really happy and like proud of myself. Knowing I was going up against Daniel, I was like, okay, this is gonna be pretty impossible. But like I didn't want to go into it being like, I can't beat Daniel. And like, even saying that to him because God forbid if he had fallen and I had said like, "Oh, Daniel, you're gonna beat me, like, I'm
mhm,
not gonna worry about it," and then he falls or something happens and I do win, I would have felt terrible, like, setting up the expectation that, like, I felt like he was gonna win. So I made sure to be, like, very careful of, like, being like, anything can happen. I'm
mhm,
gonna try my hardest. I know it's gonna be really, really hard against Daniel, but anything can happen and we'll see what does. And ultimately what did happen was he beat me, but it was just so fun. And it was hard. Like those steps are really, really big.
they're tall.
Yeah. And so that like didn't set me up for a good start, which is fine. But I had a blast doing it and I was just super stoked to be there.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
cool because, there's speed courses and then there's the Power Tower. And I feel like
Yeah.
watching the Power Tower is like speed ultra. Like,
Yeah,
ha-
you just like, it's called Power Tower, and it's like you have to be so powerful to do
yeah,
it. Like, if you watched, like, Austin Gray go up those steps, he literally just
he
leapfrogged
clung.
up
Yeah,
them, and I was
right.
like, "How do you do that?" Like, I was like 4 moves, like, literally, "Okay, okay, next one," and it was like it took me so long, and I was in my mind, I was thinking like, "Okay, I'm going pretty fast," but looking at them, I was like, "Okay, no, I wasn't," but it is what it is. It was super
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, but this kind of like leads into a question I had for later.
Yeah.
But if you had been against another female, you might have felt totally differently. Like you just
Yes.
said, I thought I was going fast, maybe I wasn't, but you were going very fast. It's just
Yeah.
comparatively. Yeah.
Right, for sure, yeah. Someone that's a little bit taller and probably has more of that power to push up this direction, like,
Yeah.
I had to use my legs, and they could use their legs and their arms to power up, where it's like, I'm up here trying to press up where maybe they're, like, down here, and that
Right.
that makes a
That's
that
very
makes a
different.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
so,
So I'm
oh well.
wondering, yeah. Either way, you do great.
Yeah.
But I think you guys should set up that height in your gym now and just
Oh my
practice
god.
that like all day
Yeah,
long.
I know.
You should
Yeah.
change the steps in your home to just be those, so you have to.
Yeah, right? Oh my god.
But you have a dog though, right? I don't think, your dog would be
Yeah,
very happy.
well, they would have to learn too, right? So, everybody just step it up in my family.
Um, so I had this question too about kind of going along with what I just asked about, being the only woman who made it to the power tower.
Yeah.
Did did you have any feelings of wishing that there was any other sort of recognition for yourself or just the women in general for getting that far? Like for the women who made it into the semifinals and then for yourself making it into the power tower. Do you wish that
Yeah.
there was any other sort of recognition for women?
I mean, if there was a prize for last woman standing, I wouldn't hate it, being the last woman standing for the last couple years. Wouldn't hate
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation that's come up, and I have talked about, like, maybe reaching out to, production and stuff, but it's so scary. You
Yeah.
don't wanna, make anyone upset with you and then,
Yeah.
something happen. Like, there's stuff we get picked from that's extra, that's producer discretion, and, like, I just don't wanna become, like, one of those people, and so I don't know, it's tough, like, I would love it, I feel like we as far as, like, showcasing us and they always say that, we're making history, so I feel
Mhm.
like they definitely are trying to push the fact that, it's amazing that,
Mhm.
how strong the women are getting, and there's actually something extra that's coming out later down the road that people don't know that's filmed yet, so that is gonna be a little bit more too, and that will be really fun and extra, so I feel like they are trying, I just I wish there was a last woman standing prize. Even, like, next year, like, there's a chance for sure that I won't be the last woman standing. I would just love for the woman that is the last woman standing, in the future to get something because it's really hard and, like,
Mhm.
it'd be something awesome, to, like, push ourselves into, to fight for, versus, like, just trying to do better than we did last year, which is
Yeah.
kind of what, we're doing. So,
Yeah.
I would love it, but I don't make the show, so
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, and I
yeah.
know it's the show, it's not our sport, so to say.
Yeah.
But I know we had parts of this conversation like a year ago when UNX had started, and there was like this bit of an uproar in the ninja world of a lot of women being like, "What do you mean separate courses? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening?" And other women being
Yeah.
like, "Yay, finally! Like, we can
Yeah.
feel like we're accomplishing more." And so really since then I've been having a lot of different interviews with different doctors and professionals in the field of sports and like sports medicine, sports performance, all these different areas to just sort of learn more about the differences between men and women and what it looks like to compete against like co-ed or to compete separately. So it's just interesting. Like I've begun to form my own personal opinion, but I really just appreciate being able to talk about these things because it's true. Like we are when we compete co-ed, there's definitely differences physiologically, and but
Right.
at the same time, I love that we're able to challenge ourselves so
For
much
sure.
to have the opportunity to compete all together. But I do
For
see the
sure.
value in recognizing what we have accomplished and not always feeling like, oh, we're second best because when we
For
look at it
sure.
in the competition, like they're always winning or vice versa. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I know it's a very touchy topic and, everyone has their own opinions, and I feel like for me, I'm pretty open about it. I feel like for me, it almost depends on the circumstance. Like, I love having the same obstacles on the show for American Ninja Warrior. Personally, I like having. It's so hard. Like, I'm almost kind of just like, well, whatever's in front of me, like I'm happy with. I'm just happy to
mhm,
do, whatever. And so, um, there's just been some competitions where, like, I've even gone to and I'm like, "Okay, well, I guess, I'm not gonna make it past obstacle 4, where I just traveled so far to get here, and it's gonna
mhm,
be, a race to that obstacle." And even, like, I've been around some of the teenagers, and they're like, "Oh, I wish there was a course that was, like, just for us, like, made for us, so it was, like, a race to the buzzer versus,"
yeah,
So, it's so tough because you're right, like, I like to compete on the same course, and then sometimes I like to be challenged to like my fullest of something that I can accomplish and I know I can.
mhm,
And there's just some courses where it would it would take me years and years and years to be able to complete it. But I don't know. It's
yeah,
it's so tough and it's definitely a big conversation and am I'm kind of for both sides. I don't know.
yeah.
It's hard. It's
I
hard.
hear what you're saying. No, I get it. Um, I don't know if your gym is open right now during COVID or what's going on with your
It
class
is. Yep.
situation.
Mhm.
How do you kind of two questions.
Yeah.
In your gym, do you tend to split between like ages and genders or skill level or like team levels or like how do you do it at your gym?
We do typically by age. So like I'll kind of focus more on our elite team, for instance.
Sure.
We split them up by age, but if there is a student that is skill level wise should be moved up, we will move them up. We
Mhm.
typically don't split them up by gender. Once in a while at a practice, we'll split them up by gender, but more so I do it more so that, the girls can get closer to each other and the boys can get closer to each other because
Mhm,
we do integrate them almost all the time, and so I think they enjoy it once in a while for it to be the girls and the boys are split up,
mhm,
and it's just the girls on one side and just the boys on one side. But I would say we do that maybe, like, once every 10 practices.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering. I've been asking, like, every coach that I know.
Yeah.
Just just love to hear more. Yeah, it's interesting. I know there's some gyms that I've heard do something very similarly, and they have great success in, like, their teams and their students, like, love it, and they're doing awesome. And I've heard other gyms that, like, the teen girls have felt like they really want their own group and they really want, to be in their own classes. And I think for some gym environments that does work better and it's like a need that they have. So I always just like hearing how people do
Yeah.
it and what's happening there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It probably depends too, like, how long the gym's been open, like, how the classes kind of started, maybe how close they feel with the other kids on their team. I feel like
Mhm.
that's a big difference too. Like, I know that if I split them up, my kids permanently, like, they would miss a lot of their friends. Like,
Yeah.
my team is really, really close and they're super, like, they love supporting each other. And I think part of it too is that we have some really, really strong girls, and a lot of our boys look up to our strong girls. And so,
Yeah.
I think they would miss that. So,
Yeah.
but it's every gym is different, every gym has a
Totally.
different vibe and feel. And so I think doing whatever is best for your gym is what, makes the most sense.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure. Do you have any other advice for women out there training or for coaches or just anybody in the community?
I would say, like, just, not to get discouraged. Like, I know I have a friend that, is training at my gym. She's an employee and she's just kind of starting to get into it, into the NNL. And she's more self-conscious about her competing than like her actual skill level because she's super strong. And she would hold herself back if she didn't like go for it. And so I just had to tell her to go and do the elite NNL. And I'm
Mhm.
like, you gotta push yourself and know that it's okay to fall and know that we all fall, we all fail, we all get discouraged, and like that's just Ninja Warrior. Like
Mhm.
if that crushes you, like this is not the sport for you. Like we get discouraged all the time, we fall all the time, and we it makes us stronger, like having to work through that and having to learn how to process that and kind of build ourselves up from that.
Mhm.
I know that, like, I've fallen on the first obstacle at NNLs before, like, traveled far and fell on the first obstacle.
Yeah. We've
And,
all been
like,
there.
yeah, for sure. And it's like, if that's something that just, like, totally destroys you, you either have to figure out a way to, like, build yourself up, um, and just know that, like, it's okay, that we've all been there, and it's okay to rely on, help, ask other people for help, and, rely on other people, who have done this, and just, like, reach out to those because, like, that's what the community is, like, we're super close, we're always there for each other. So I would say reaching out to others and just not giving up on yourself and knowing that it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good advice. And I think too, it's like it's easy to start Ninja and immediately be like, "Oh, I have to be competitive. I have to do NNLs. I have to do all this stuff." And I think for
Right.
some people, it's just not necessarily for you. Like if you're the
For
type of person
sure.
that the competition is really stressful or like automatically getting involved in a sport where like it's almost expected that you're going to apply for a TV show. It's like,
Right.
wait, what? So
Right.
I do think that sometimes I feel like we don't talk enough about just doing it for fun.
Oh,
Um,
for
I
sure.
mean, I'm also competitive, of course, but I think that it's okay to do it to want to just enjoy the sport and want to have fun and want to just be involved. Especially when
Yeah,
you have like a whole family situation or you don't want to maybe you feel like intimidated like oh I can't do this because my brother my sister is doing it and they're competing but I don't know if I want to compete and then it's like
for
you know
sure. Yeah, on our elite team, like I even say that to the kids. We have some kids that are on the NNL and they're going to nationals and they're doing all this stuff. We have some kids that do just our little league on our at our gym, and then we have some kids that just come to practice. And I make sure to tell them like, "Hey guys, like you don't have to do anything outside of practice. You can just come to
mhm,
practice, go home and like that's your ninja experience and that's fine. But I'm always like, "But if you want to do more, just come and let me know, and I will fill you in on whatever you need to know, but, like, there is no pressure here, like, you can just do this for fun." And so, we make sure that like our practices and even open gyms and stuff is like we have nights where it's competitive and we're really trying hard and we really like we make them, their forearms get pumped out and like whatever. But then we have nights where it's like it's just fun and it's just games. And I'll tell them like, guys, like we have nights like this because I still want this to be enjoyable and fun and know that not everybody is in it to be, number one in the nation. Some people just want to get stronger and that's it. And that's
Mhm.
fine for
Yeah,
sure.
totally.
Yeah.
Do you have any other last question, do you have any other, like, favorite gym tips or, like, favorite things that you've implemented into your training, like, this past season?
Um, I would say my number one thing is I always suggest is like rock climbing. Like if
Mm,
you can rock climb, um, I actually enjoy rock climbing more than I enjoy training for ninja because I feel like ninja is so it's just it's hard on your body and
mhm,
like when do you not leave the ninja gym being like, ow, like I am like sore, my hands are burning, or my forearms are pumped. And so like I feel like for me, like rock climbing is something where I just have fun and it makes me a lot stronger and I'm able to get through a lot more obstacles because I've been rock climbing. So like that's my number
mhm,
one thing is like I do enjoy ninja, but I really enjoy rock climbing and it helps me so much with ninja that that's something that I always suggest for sure.
totally, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
anything else that you wanna share before we wrap things up?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's reached out to me and, has shown me a lot of, love and support. It's hard for me to get back to everybody, but I hear everybody and I just really appreciate it. And so, yeah.
Everyone's excited to see you and, like,
Yeah.
see you
And
do
it's,
well and so
yeah. And it's so nice. And so I love that everyone is so supportive and this whole community is so great. And, yeah, I wouldn't want to be in any other community. Everyone's just awesome here. All right. Be strong, be you, be a ninja babe.